Hey everybody, welcome to another Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week is a passionate advocate for people to reconnect with nature, and her name is Susanne Heaton. Susanne, welcome to the show. For more information on Susanne, it's motivatedbynature.com. For more information on Playful Humans, it's playfulhumans.com. You can take a playfulness quiz. You can join the community and find other playful people. And check out Motivated by Nature, too, if you want to get out and do some nature challenges. We're going to hear more about that here in just a second. So I think without further ado, let's get it done. Here we go. Good dancing, Susanne. I feel like I need to work on my Zoom moves. That there's probably some better Zoom moves.
I love that song.
It's a great song. It's by Pink Zebra. It's available on Amazon if you want to go find out. It's called Chasing the Sunshine. And the joke of the week is brought to you by it's a very important PSA for COVID and social distancing. You want to make sure you stay away from vampires because they're always coughing. Okay.
Oh.
Joke of the week. What did the hat say to the hat rack?
No idea.
You stay here, I'll go on ahead.
All
right. Those are mine. Do you have a joke for us?
I do. I'm actually going to change my joke because of your first one. So what do you get when you cross a vampire and a snowman?
Oh, I don't know.
Frostbite.
Frostbite. Nice. All right, good. Three really good jokes you can use with kids. I recommend, like 6 and under, very strong.
That was a kid joke for sure.
And so tell us about Motivated by Nature. It sounds like a really awesome project to me, and certainly something that I think everybody needs right now, especially here as temperatures warm up, to get back outside and start exploring the world and get out of the freaking house, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's funny, your warm is totally different than our warm because I'm here in Canada and we had the -30 cold snap here, Celsius, but it's warmed up to a +7 yesterday. So looking forward to that warm weather.
Like, that's balmy. That's springtime.
It felt like it.
It did, yeah. So talk about Motivated by Nature. What is it, and how are you playing for a living these days?
So I'm a huge advocate for people getting outdoors and reconnecting with nature. And when COVID hit, I had been doing these online challenges on Facebook, just making different units and stuff for people to participate on a monthly basis. And when it hit, I thought, you know what, I need to create my own platform, and I need to get this out to not only individuals, but also to businesses to help build team morale. And so that's what I spent most of last year doing, was creating the platform with an IT person who got what I was trying to do. And we launched it in September and worked out all the bugs on it. And in January of this year, we launched it to a Philippine company. And what it is there's a pre-survey and a post-survey to see where your mental health, your physical health, your connection to nature, and where your team morale is at. And then each day of the challenge, you're given a prompt, and you get to use your creativity and imagination with the prompt of the day. It's kind of like an adult scavenger hunt. You go outside, you either take a picture, a video, or you just make a comment on the platform about what you saw for the prompt of the day, and you get a point for doing that. And you get a point for interacting on your colleagues' posts. And I've had people from Australia, the UK, the States, and Canada participate in it. And it's really great to see the posts from all over the world. And the one that I just did for the Philippines, for the company, what was really neat was seeing how the entire team came together, because where they are right now, they can't get together at all. I know in different parts of the world, people can get together. They can't. So they were able to interact with their colleagues that way. And it was really cool because one person in particular had just been hired, so they hadn't met one another. So they got to interact that way, and make plans to go on hikes later once the pandemic was over in that area. And so at the end of the challenge, they do this post survey and they get to see how they've shifted the needle on their overall well-being. But it's a lot of fun. That's what I really push, is that if you're not going to have fun doing the challenge, you won't continue to do it. So let's go out there and have fun.
Well, yeah, and I think that matches the mission of Playful Humans here, right? Is encouraging people to get out and find their play and explore and move, and all the benefits that you mentioned. I mean, mental health, physical health, team bonding, and all kinds of great benefits there. It's really amazing to me that maybe people don't put an emphasis on this as much as they should. Why do you think a lot of companies don't encourage, time to get out and reconnect with nature, or any type of, physical challenge that's not for people with desk jobs?
Well, there's actually,
and then what's the benefits? Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually two things on that. Here in Canada, Ipsos and the Nature Conservancy of Canada did a survey, and they found out that 9 out of 10 people absolutely feel better when they get outdoors, but 3/4 of them are just too lazy to get off the couch. So they need that accountability to get them off the couch and get outdoors. And with a lot of businesses, they're just kind of starting to realize now that $1 spent on employee morale equates to $3 in ROI. That's the lowest figure. I've heard some as much as 1 to 8 for the ratio. So yeah, people are starting to get on that bandwagon and realize, okay, it costs a lot to retrain new employees and that sort of stuff. Let's work with who we have here now and get them working together.
Yeah, you hit on 2 things there for me. One is, if somebody burns out and they quit, the cost is astronomical. I mean, it can be 3 to 10 times the amount you pay a salary in a year just to hire and onboard, and lost productivity of somebody not being in that position for a while. But the other one is just health, and that lower sick days and other lost productivity of somebody who's burning out or physically unable to perform is dramatically important for the business bottom line as well, right?
Absolutely. There was actually a study done in Japan, and they had this problem that they were trying to solve in the company. And they took one group and they kept them indoors, and they brainstormed indoors on how to come up with a solution for the problem. And the other group, they took them outside hiking. And the end result was those who went out hiking came back with a more creative and a more cost-effective solution than those that stayed in the office. And there's a reason for that. When you go out in nature, there's no such thing as right angles like there are in our offices. Everything just flows, right? And there's also what's called fractals. So think of a fern and the repeating patterns. Very, very attractive to our eye, and it helps to boost our creativity. And when you're walking too, you're balancing the right and the left side of the brain. So the creative juices just get going. So I think it's amazing too. Einstein and Edison both went for morning walks every day because they knew that it would help to boost their creativity. So if those geniuses did that, I think we should take a page out of their book.
Yeah, and it's amazing that I've never seen any research on downsides of this. I mean, really, even the time. So a lot of business owners or leaders will say, well, I can't afford a lost productivity of everybody going for a walk for an hour. But you've already said you get 3 times that back. When they come back, they work faster and that and smarter and more efficient and more creatively and innovatively. That I haven't ever seen a downside. Have you heard anything that works? I
would say the only downside would be getting mosquito bites.
Well, that's true.
But no, like the challenge that I just did in the Philippines, it's interesting because some of the employees even said, I wasn't sure how I was going to balance like getting outside every day for half an hour for a walk. And they said they just incorporated it into their daily routine, and they were amazed, and how it ended up making them more focused when they were actually at work to get the job done quicker. So they themselves saw the difference, which is pretty cool.
And then I wanted to ask you about these challenges, because I'm sure you'll have a wide range of people, right? There are people that are just outdoorsy, nature loving people that want to be participating with you on stuff because they like the challenge and the accountability and camaraderie there. But you also probably have some people that struggle, that they're binging Netflix and sitting on the couch more than they are getting outside, and they want to get started. So what, explain to me, maybe, or maybe give some examples of what these challenges are, and then how do you recommend people start, maybe going from 0 to 10?
Great question. So first off, I have a good, better, best principle. So good is just taking 5 minutes out of your day, looking out your window and looking for the prompt of the day out your window, right? Better is actually getting outdoors, breathing in that healing fresh air and looking for the prompt of the day. You can sit down by a tree, whatever it might be. Best is actually going for that half-hour walk and looking for the prompt of the day. So I get that life happens, and I get that everyone's not at the same level. So the whole idea is just to start that routine, start that habit, and in terms of getting out there and realizing that you have the good, better, best. And I even use analogies in there. There's, when a tree grows, the tree growth rings are not equal distance apart. When the growing conditions are perfect, they're huge growth rings. When they're not, they're small. So give yourself some slack. If you need to just kind of take it easy one day, that's totally cool. But at least it's front and center of you participating. So an example is, so let's start with the letter A. I use the alphabet. So day one is letter A. So go outside and find anything with the letter A. It could be it could be an animal, anything with the letter A goes. So what happens is it helps people be really mindful. And what's really cool is I've had people who are real nature enthusiasts who said to me, you know what, I walked by this one place millions of times before, and I never noticed this item until doing this challenge. So it's just that mindfulness approach that really, really helps. And what is really cool is that the sharing that happens on the platform makes people want to keep coming back. And there's also a leaderboard so they can see what their points are at. So if anyone's a little bit competitive at all, they want to get out there, they want to post, and they want to comment on their colleagues' posts. So
yeah, gamification is definitely a cool one that we don't talk about very often, but to me, I think there's enough people covering that, but it is important for people that are competitors to be able to see a leaderboard, and it creates some accountability for the people lower on there too that don't want to be at the very bottom to move up. So those are important aspects of it. I'm interested what level 10 looks like though. So you have to have, like I said, super passionate fans. Do you work with them differently, or are they just racking up points because they're doing it every day? What does it look like for somebody that's really a nature enthusiast?
No, they're just going out, they're taking pictures, they're sharing. I'm probably on the really competitive end on the nature side because I've climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and I like to try those different things, but that's not what it's about. It's about you getting out there and just being present to the beauty that's all around you. When you just slow down, look, and listen. So.
Well, that makes sense. So I do want to ask you personally about your play and business, but first, how did you get into this? You mentioned this was a fairly new project, but what were you doing before? Have you had real jobs? Do they involve nature? What did the career path look like?
Okay. So I actually grew up on my family farm that had been in the family for over 3 generations. So I learned a lot about nature through osmosis. And I had a dad who was a teacher, a farmer. He was a soil and water conservationist, and a mom who was an artist. She did a lot of landscape art as well as a palliative care coordinator. Cool. And I had great aunts that came out for the summer months, and they were master gardeners. And so that's the best way to learn, is when you don't realize that you're learning things, you're just immersed in it. And I graduated, went to university for phys ed and recreation, didn't quite get where I wanted to. Then I went to management and majored in marketing. And then I worked in an oil and gas company for 11 years. And that burnout that you spoke of earlier, that was one of the wake-up calls that I had myself to realize just how short this life of ours is. So that was back in 2009. And I took a total leap of faith, left my corporate job, and I started my business. And it actually started with a book, with writing a book. And it was about inspiring respect for self, others, and the environment. And it was done through using fairies. And I was Susanne the Sunshine Fairy in the book. So I dressed up as Susanne the Sunshine Fairy and went to schools and told them about all the principles and the concepts in the book. And actually,
that's super fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. The greatest was, I was talking to a grade 1 kid, and he was like sizing me up through the whole presentation of the book. And he came up to me at the end of the presentation and he said, "So when exactly do you start to shrink?"
That's awesome.
And I told him, you know what, fairies come in all shapes and sizes, and I stay this size. And he was like, okay.
Well, you didn't mention, is the book still available? What's the title of the book?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's this, the ABC Field Guide to Fairies.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, what inspired me to write the book actually was friends that we used to go hiking with quite a bit. Their daughter had a very rare brain tumor. She was only 12 years old. And she passed away from the brain tumor. But the night after she passed away, she came to me in a dream and she said, "Susanne, I've got fairy wings instead of angel wings because they're so much easier for running and playing around the meadow in." And I woke up from that dream and thought, I didn't know the first thing about fairies. So I started to research them, and I found out they're considered nature's angels. They're all about us having fun and lighting up. So, and that was totally what Sarah was about. So the book is dedicated in her memory. And that's what started me on this crazy journey.
Wow. Well, that's an amazing story. I'm glad we got to that. And I appreciate you sharing that because to me, I heard so much there. I mean, that those fairies are very aligned with our missions here. And then also, I love that you went to schools and did that, and you were able to make a business out of it, like take the leap and just go for it. And then figure out how to do that. Was there a particularly hard lesson learned along the way, or did you find like once you found your passion that it just kind of rolled for you?
Every day is a lesson, I'm telling you. When you're an entrepreneur, every day is a lesson. But I think the biggest lesson from doing the book is I bought the book in bulk so that I could bring down the cost of the book, because I used it as a fundraiser, right, for schools and
cool.
different groups, but I had to buy a huge quantity so that I could get that margin there. So 5,000 books in a garage is a lot of books when you're looking at them. So I would not do that again. I would not advise anyone to do that. So
no, the publishing on demand business has become so fast and cheap these days that it's really much easier. Yeah.
That had just kind of picked up after I had done all that. So yeah.
And 5,000's a lot of books. Like 10,000 is like a bestseller. So 5 is a bunch for sure. But that's a great lesson, and I appreciate you sharing that too. What about play for you? So I'm assuming you like to get out in nature and do some things. But
I don't know. Can you read this?
I saw the play on it. Yeah.
Play. Okay. So on top of creating the book, what I did was for my 1-year anniversary. So each of the fairies in the book have kind of like a main message, whether it's play, fun, respect, that sort of thing. And so what I decided to do, originally I was going to create my own little rocks to give away to people who supported me on the journey. And then what I decided to do was, I heard about the gratitude keys where people engraved the words on it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to approach the local drop-in center here. And I paid them to do the different words on the rocks for me. Yeah. And gave those out at the celebration, and they were such a hit at the celebration that I ended up having stores make requests for it. So it was a really, really cool project. I learned a lot through doing that. So
That's cool. And on my walking trail, I try to go for walks every day when it's not freezing or raining too hard. And we have a great trail here in Lenexa, Kansas, where I live. And I think several people now are painting rocks with messages or designs and leaving them around the trails and stuff. And it's really cool to do kind of an I Spy when you walk around. And somebody is phenomenally talented. I've taken pictures of really like cool ones they've done, but I also thought like that would be a really good fundraiser or some sort of marketing campaign if you just did like Lenexa Rocks, like a hashtag Lenexa Rocks, and you paint them all and leave them around and stuff for people and have kind of a take one, leave one. It's a cool way to spread a message for sure.
Well, and that was the whole idea with the gratitude rocks was people bought it, they kept it for as long as they needed, and then they passed it on to someone that they met that they felt needed the message. But the problem was people liked their rocks so much that they kept them.
That's what I was thinking, like, taking a picture of it in a cool place and then maybe like posting that and then moving it or something might be a good way. Cause I always like those when you see, sometimes people do them where they take like the doll or the cardboard cutout guy, right?
And
take
the gnome,
pictures of it.
yeah.
Yeah, the gnomes or gosh, I wish I could remember that guy's name, but I'm sure a middle schooler could tell me. But I think it was like something Sam or something that you could like cut out this little picture of a guy, and then when you go on vacation, you put him in front of landmarks and stuff and post. But I thought the same thing would be fun about rocks or a message. It'd be a cool way to get a nice movement going. And obviously, we all need ways to collaborate with people, but it would also be socially distanced and stuff too. So I think that I wanted to ask you about too, just because I'm assuming just in our time and this summer and stuff that being outside is much safer than being inside, right?
Oh my God. You're going to put me on a soapbox here. Because
that's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on this and how we can play safely, but get outside.
Absolutely. So when we get outdoors, the trees and the plants give off something called phytoncides, and that's just a fancy scientific word for essential oils. And what happens is when we breathe those in, it helps to boost a white blood cell called the natural killer cell, which helps against viruses as well as cancers. So, I mean, everyone should be getting outside for some vitamin N, some vitamin nature, right? And the studies that they're coming up with now, and that they're realizing how healing it is to get out for about 3 hours a week, to get outside, get out for a walk, how it helps to bring down your stress levels, how it helps to bring down your blood pressure. With women, it helps to reduce chances of breast cancer. It also reduces chances of diabetes. So anything that we can do to be healthier during this pandemic is really, really important. And what's really interesting, I don't know how you've seen it in Kansas, but in Canada, one of the things that I've seen about this pandemic is I've seen that more families seem to be going outside, whether it's for a walk or going to the parks, which I think is amazing. And I really hope that that trend continues after the pandemic's over.
Yeah, I think they said our park usage was up like 70% or something last summer. Now, both of us had cold snaps this winter, obviously, which I'm sure shut things down a bit. But yeah, hopefully that does continue. I know people were buying a ton of bicycles around here. You couldn't even find one in the first couple of months of the pandemic and stuff. So all that's great. Yeah. I had one more question for you, and then maybe we'll play a game. How do you feel about grounding? And is that something that you put into your life?
100%. When you look at the bottoms of our feet, the bottoms of our feet have 7,000 nerve endings in each foot. So if you go outside in bare feet on the earth, or if you're lucky enough to be by a beach, you are literally soaking up millions of electrons through the base of your feet. And what that does is it helps to decoagulate the blood and take down inflammation. And they have talked about the fact that it helps to fight some viruses as well as some types of cancers as well. And for anyone who has issues with sleeping, grounding is a great way to help with that. And getting out and getting sunlight before about 11 o'clock in the morning really helps to set the circadian rhythm in the body. So
yeah, I love that too. I experimented a lot with that last summer, just with all of the everything else going on, and I survived, made it through. So I guess I can say that it worked. But it is interesting in different climates how those things change. So I love doing it in the morning, but when it doesn't get light until after you already have to start working, that can be challenging. And then when I move those to the afternoons in the fall and winter, I just don't really kind of feel the same. I like it so much better in the morning.
So you know what? There's another reason for that, and thanks for bringing that up. They say that when the fresh morning dew is on the grass, that's the best time because we absorb it better at that time. So that's when the most healing is there available for us. So that's what you were tapping into.
Yeah, I really like that. Well, that's awesome. If you are finding this conversation interesting as well, check out motivatedbynature.com. And if you do learning.motivatedbynature.com, you can find out about those monthly challenges that Susanne shares with everybody. And that's awesome. And so do you want to play a game or do you want to walk away? What do you think?
I want to play a game.
All right, we're spinning the wheel of games to see which one it lands on, and you got choose your own game. You get to choose what game we play. So do you have a game for us?
I do. I have these incredible base camp cards here, and they ask certain questions. So I'm going to ask you a question here, Mike.
Yeah, what's a base camp card first, and where'd you get those?
So you know what? It's a card deck that they're based here in Canada actually, and if you go to basecampcards.com, you'll find them. And what's really cool is they have these so they're actually playing cards, but they also have these cool kind of prompts. So for when you're camping around the fire, you can get into some really cool conversations. But they also have these kind of really out there questions. So I'm going to ask you, this question is, have Cheeto dust on your fingers forever, or have a popcorn kernel stuck at the back of your throat forever? Which one?
Oh, well, that's no question at all, because Cheeto dust is not a negative. That's a positive. So
totally with
by
you.
far going Cheeto dust. All right, you do one.
Okay, so this one is legs as long as fingers or fingers as long as legs. And I would do fingers as long as legs.
I think so too, but why do you think?
I think it just gives you more stability, right? You've got more things going on. Whereas if your legs were as long as fingers.
That's what I was thinking. Mobility, yeah, definitely downside there. All right, one more for me. How about that?
Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay. Change gender every time you sneeze, or not be able to tell the difference between a muffin and a baby.
Wow. Well, again, I feel like this one is a no-brainer. I got to go change genders. That would be super fun. I feel like that's a positive and not a negative there. So yeah, that's a feature for sure. So awesome. Great questions. Thanks for playing. Any final thoughts or asks of the audience, how we can help you or you can help us?
You know what I'd like to tell everybody is getting out in nature is as simple as getting out your own front or back door. You don't have to go to some place special. They've done studies that people are much more happier when they are in the outdoors or in a green space. So if you've got a backyard, whatever it might be, take that time, gift yourself the time to get out there for your health.
I love it. Susanne Heaton, you can find at motivatedbynature.com. Again, find those monthly challenges, learning.motivatedbynature.com. And to learn more about Playful Humans, go to playfulhumans.com. And if you put the /quiz on there, there's a quiz. We'll put all these links in the comments here below the video or podcast. And if you have any suggestions for future guests, ideas, don't forget to leave them in the comments there. Give us a like, thumbs up, 5-star rating, whatever will help this podcast grow and do more. So until next time, go play.
Don't wait for the